Friends, when the darkness is deep, the desire for light is the greatest. Imagine a world where your color becomes your identity, where your ability, your hard work, and your dreams are limited because of your dark or light color. A world where a person's freedom has no value, where a person is made an outsider on his own land. Such was the world of South Africa, where apartheid ruled. There was such a deep gap between whites and blacks that despite living in the same country, two different worlds existed. White people lived in palaces, received good education, held high-ranking jobs, while black people were forced to live in slums. It was written on the boards on the roadside, "Only for whites." But no one can tolerate this injustice forever. When the situation becomes extremely uncontrollable, then revolution is born. And the biggest face of that revolution was Nelson Mandela, who spent 70 out of 95 years of his life fighting for South Africa. This story is not just of one person, but of countless people who put their lives at stake for equality and freedom. Friends, this is going to be a very inspiring and motivational story, so you must listen to the video till the end. So now let's know the inspiring journey of this great hero in detail in this video. But before moving forward in the video, friends, I request you with folded hands to like the video and subscribe to the channel so that my morale keeps increasing. Friends, Nelson Mandela was born on 18 July 1918 in Mvezo, a small village in South Africa. His name was Rolihlahla, which meant troublemaker. Later, a teacher at his school named him Nelson, which was a name kept according to English culture. He was born in a prominent tribal family. His father was Henry Mandela, who was a prominent member of the Thembu tribe. However, when Nelson was young, his father died, and he was sent to his guardian, Thembu King Jongintaba. This is where the foundation of education and leadership was laid in his life. King Jongintaba gave Nelson the best education. He started studying law at Fort Hare University, but was soon expelled from there because he protested against the unjust rules of the university. This was the first major rebellion of his life. After this, he continued studying law at the University of Witwatersrand. This was the time when he developed awareness against racism and apartheid. Apartheid policy was officially implemented in South Africa in 1948. Under this, whites and blacks were kept in separate areas. There were special facilities for whites in public places, while blacks were kept away from them. White people held high positions in the government, judicial system, and army, while blacks were limited to minor jobs. Blacks were not allowed to enter white areas without government permission. Nelson Mandela could not remain silent after seeing all this. Nelson Mandela joined the African National Congress, ANC, in 1944, which was an organization fighting for the rights of blacks. He founded the Young League and started uniting thousands of people through his speeches and movements. In 1952, he ran the Defiance Campaign, in which people were called upon to refuse to obey the unjust laws of the government. He also created the Freedom Charter, which demanded equal rights for all. The government considered it a conspiracy, and in 1956, Nelson Mandela and 155 other leaders were arrested on charges of treason. In 1960, the government banned the ANC. After this, Mandela chose another path of struggle. He led an armed struggle against the government. In 1962, he was arrested and sentenced to life imprisonment in the Rivonia trial. He was kept in Robben Island Prison, where he spent 27 years of his life. Nelson Mandela had to live in a cell of 5 by 7 feet, had to do hard labor, was not allowed to meet family for weeks. Despite the harsh punishment, he continued studying even in jail and educated other prisoners. But this difficult struggle strengthened his intentions. In the 1980s, due to South African and international pressure, the pressure on the government to release Mandela increased. And on the 11th of February 1990, Nelson Mandela was released from jail. In 1994, racial discrimination-free elections were held for the first time in South Africa, and Nelson Mandela became the first black president of the country. He gave equal rights to all communities and laid the foundation of a new South Africa. Friends, who is a true warrior? Nelson Mandela's story teaches us that no matter how difficult the struggle, if we have courage and patience, we can win. Revenge makes us weak, but forgiveness makes us great. No one is born hating. We can learn to love. Peace and tolerance are the greatest weapons in the fight for justice. Friends, Nelson Mandela said that education is the most powerful weapon with which you can change the world. Courage is not the absence of fear, but the victory over it. He said that the great man is not the one who never falls, but the one who rises every time he falls. The true meaning of freedom is not just to be free from chains, but to live in such a way that the freedom of others is also ensured. Nelson Mandela says, "I learned that living with hatred destroys the soul, so I chose love." Friends, Nelson Mandela was not a person, but an idea, which will always remain alive.